and welcome everyone. This is the Speaking Driven livecast by NSA Virginia. My name is Mary Foley. I'm part of NSA Virginia and I'm today's host. And you may be asking yourself, what do you mean by speaking driven business? Well, here at NSA Virginia is that if you're an author, a speaker, a coach, a consultant, anyone who's an expert, and you use speaking of any kind, might be online, might be offline, might be to a small group, might be to a large group, it might seem like a keynote or a presentation or an online session or a facilitated meeting. Speaking of any kind where you influence people and you help to pass on your advice and words of wisdom, well, then you have a speaking-driven business. And what we like to do here on this livecast is talk to individuals who have speaking-driven businesses and about how they do it and really try to learn from them. Today, we have two special guests. And I want to jump right in, introduce you to them, and get to our conversation. And those are Steve Lowell and Jayne Blumenthal. Now, Steve is, you need to know something first about them both. They're Canadians. I mean, which means they're good people. That means they can go anywhere around the world with their passport and people love them. I mean, that's what happens with Canadians. We get a little bit, jealous of that. But anyway, Steve is a CSP. For those who don't know, that's a certified speaking professional with the National Speakers Association. He's been speaking and performing on live stages ever since he was 6. Which I'm going to ask you about that too, Steve. All right, when was that first stage? And currently what he does is that he has been speaking internationally, but he's been helping people like ourselves who have speaking-driven businesses to really create the impact, not only on the stage, but also in their business and their bank account. And we're going to ask him more about that. He's the current president of what's called CAPS, the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. And also, he is with his lovely wife and partner, Jayne Blumenthal. Now, Jayne, she's not just arm candy. I'm just female. There's a whole lot more here going on. She retired already. Steve's still working. Just note this out. 8-figure business that she went from 0 to 8 figures. So you put as many numbers as you want after that, but that's a lot. But more than just the money, it was the building something from scratch that really was valuable to sell at that kind of rate. Well, now she is co-founder of what's called S&J Training Solutions, which is a global training company. And so she's still back at it because, once you're kind of built a business as an entrepreneur, it's hard to just shake that off immediately. So they are joining up and they are coming to NSA Virginia on Friday, June the 15th, doing a half-day workshop. And I'm really excited about that. Here's their topic. It's called Your Repumeter and how to become a known expert in your field. And, if you're a known expert in your field, there's a whole lot of advantages to that for not only more clients and better clients, but also higher fees, all for the right reason. So I want to jump in and ask both of you about this. But first, welcome to the Speaking Driven livecast.
Thank you. So happy to be here. It's, we visit a lot of chapters around the world and not that many of them do this sort of thing. So this is really cool.
Yeah, it's an honor and privilege to be here.
Well, I really appreciate you taking some extra time today to do this. And before we even get to that first, I want to ask you about what this Repumeter is, all right? Because I know, Steve, you created this concept. 6 years old, what stage, where'd you start performing? Tell us, dish, let's go.
So when I was 6 years old, I did my first public performance playing my guitar. And so what I found was, I was, this little guy with this great big huge guitar, and I would play my guitar on stage, and I found it really enjoyable to introduce the songs I was playing as much as play them. So I was doing as much speaking as I was playing, and then for the rest of my life, I've been on stage in various capacities. But that's where it all started. Yeah.
That's great. So do you bring your guitar on stage at all these days?
No, that was a different world ago. That was a long time ago, different part of life. Yeah.
But it is cute and adorable when you're 6, isn't it?
It is. It was cute and adorable when I was 6, and the cute and adorable wore off at about 29, something like that. And cute and adorable was all I had going for me. So,
hey, it just shows you can change your business model, right?
Yeah,
you got to know your talents, you got to know the marketplace, you got to know where you want to go. So that's great. So let's now talk about this topic of a repu-meter. All right, so I see the words reputable, reputation meter. What is a repu-meter?
So a repu-meter is basically a model that helps identify the state of your reputation out in the world, like out there and within your circles of influence. And it identifies several different positions that are indicated by how people are speaking about you. So it's about, what is the conversation out there in the world about you? What are people saying? Are they saying the right things? Are they saying things that empower your brand? Are they saying anything at all? And so what we did with the repu-meter is I took a look at what was happening with my business over the past 5 or 6 years and identified specific points in time when there were changes in the business. And I tried to figure out what caused those changes, what actually changed. And so I identified 4 specific milestones that I went through and put them on this little graph, called it a repu-meter, and now we take it all over the world, and it's getting all kinds of attention, and people are really coming up and saying, I know exactly where I am and exactly where I need to be. And so our job is to bring that to their awareness and then show them how to move along on the repu-meter to get them where they need to be in their personal and brand reputation.
Well, and it made me think about brand. We often think about what's my personal brand, is it how well it's perpetuated out there, right? Do people even know about it? But then also, what do they think about it? So the thing, though, that makes me wonder is we live in a world where there's so much more because of online. People can find out about us. They can share with one another about us. If we had the place where it's like, how many stars are you, right? We do reviews on all kinds of things. So there's just so much more possibility for your reputation to be known, but also to be known good, to be known bad, and to be known indifferent. Has this online world kind of just taken this idea of you got to understand your reputation to a whole nother level?
Absolutely, because this is where reputations now are made and where reputations are broken. And so what I'm finding, and I should qualify this, I'm not a branding expert, not a marketing expert, not a social media expert. I do some of those things, but that's not my area of expertise. So what I'm sharing with your group is an account of what has happened with us and our branding over the past 7 or 8 years, and now what is happening with clients, with whom we teach these things. And so with the whole online piece, here's the problem that I've seen is it's no longer about good reputation, bad reputation. That's not enough. What I've noticed is we need to drill down and basically train the world how to speak about us in a very specific way. Because 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, that doesn't mean that much anymore. That's just the beginning. That's sort of the eye-opener piece. But when we drill past the number of stars, for example, you get 5 or 6 different organizations, all have 5 stars, and they all look exactly the same. So there's nothing really that differentiates them from each other. So 5 stars on a rating, that's a good thing, but that's only the beginning. That's where it starts. What happens after that? How do you stand out and really train the world how to speak about you in a way that drives business to you and not everybody else who does what you do? So it's about that.
Yeah, that is different. And this idea of then the repu-meter, at first, the word meter means I got to figure out where am I, right, on this. But then you said something also to me that caught my attention, which is then you can control or influence where you want that meter to go and how you're going to do that. So if yes, I'm on the radar, yes, I might be getting 4 stars, great, but that's just an ante-in, and I want to improve my reputation. I want to make it memorable and distinctive. How do I really do that?
So that's what we're going to be talking about at the session, very specific steps. And the reason why Jayne and I do a lot of this work together is because I'm going to be showing the actual steps, step by step. Here are the things that you absolutely, not things you can do, things you must do. These are absolutes, and without them all, it just doesn't work. But here's the other piece is what I'm going to show the step by step. But again, even if you do all 4 of these, it doesn't work without the proper mindset all wrapped around it. And that's where Jayne is going to come in, because Jayne is known around the world as the 7-figure mindset mentor. And so her content is really about taking whatever it is you're working on and approaching it from the proper mindset so that all the pieces fall in together, not only tactically, but they fall in strategically and they fall in alignment with your personal values and beliefs. Anything else to add about that?
No, that's perfect.
So that's what Jayne will do. So yes, there are specific steps that you can take, and they need to be taken a specific way with specific belief systems, specific mindsets in order for it all to work.
And
So, go, yeah, Jayne.
how this works is that in our first year in business, which was last year together in our S&J training, we were able to take that business and generate $1 million in revenue. So, you know, we know that this works. This is why we're really passionate about getting it out there, and you know, especially going into groups that we're affiliated with and that we have, you know, heart for, and NSA being one of them, and certainly going around to some of the places in Canada as well, and sharing this so that other people can actually have the business that they dream of, whatever that looks like to them. Not everyone wants a 7-figure business, but you know, wherever you want it to be, this will help you get there.
So we hear a lot about mindset, Jayne, right? And you got to have the right mindset. Is there, you know, when I think about my reputation and what you said, Steve, how you can control it, right? I'm thinking, well, you know, if I can just think about how I'm going to send out these brainwaves that they're going to, you know, think that Mary is Wonder Woman. That's it. That's it. That's it. I'm thinking that's not quite the mindset you're talking about.
Correct. So I help people work through limiting beliefs that they've carried with them for a very long time that they don't even realize that they're carrying. And some very specific exercises that I take people through to help them uncover some of those limiting beliefs. Once you uncover them, that's really the beginning stage. And then what you do with that from there is really the challenge. You know, how you go about changing those limiting beliefs. But often I find that people don't even know they have them, and they're stuck in them. And then they keep, you know, perpetuating the same thing over and over again, and they don't understand why they're not getting different results. So that's where I come in and help them to understand them and to see what they are. And I use examples from my business, you know, over the 20 years that I was in the garment manufacturing business, and where I took that to an 8-figure level. So it's always entertaining. People always come away with a big aha. Combined with what Steve does, it's a really fun time.
And where those two worlds come together for Jayne and I is, you know, when people have these limiting beliefs that Jayne is talking about, it affects the way they show up, and it affects it the way that they execute, and it affects it the way that they function, and they don't even know that there are patterns that they get stuck in that are really affecting the outcome and affecting their performance and affecting their image and how they show up. So, you know, with Jayne's work, it helps them change those patterns. But then what happens is then they come into with what I'm doing and everything else that they do, but specifically for us, what I'm doing with the Repumeter piece, they come into that showing up a very specific way that enhances the work that they're doing that I'm going to share. If they come into the work that I'm going to share with them, if they come into that with unhealthy belief systems and destructive patterns, then there are some risks there and there are some dangers there. And so what we found working with the two of us, and the way we found this out is Jayne helped me change a lot of my belief systems that I had no idea that I was hauling around. And I was showing up very specific ways in very specific circumstances. I had no idea how it is affecting the outcome of my business, not, you know, let alone the rest of my life. So when I started to understand the belief systems and then do what I'm doing with a healthy belief system, a healthy mindset, showing up a healthy way and addressing things and functionally from a healthy standpoint, then that really enhanced the work. So, you know, we do a lot of this work together. Sometimes I do the Repumeter piece by myself and Jayne just focuses on the mindset piece, and sometimes we merge them together. So this is one of those opportunities where we're going to be bringing both together in some combination so that your audience and your group can really get the value of both sides.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So I'm wondering, Jayne, when in the workshop on June the 15th, some of those techniques that you were saying about starting to be able to identify perhaps our self-limiting beliefs that we were unaware of, will we get to do a couple of those exercises, you think?
Yes, you will.
Okay, good.
And Steve will share his story with you as well.
Oh, great. Oh, I love to hear those details because, I mean, it's truly, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I always think, therefore, a video or a story's worth 1,000,000. I mean, you just get so much more understanding of this. And you need all of it. You need the model, the concept of Repumeter. You need the kind of how business cycles or stages, happen, kind of that knowledge base. And you also need to know what's happening here, right? And to your point, we don't always know. So this idea you have here, one of the things I know that it's, you're going to talk about ways to expand my circle of influence. Can you give us an understanding of what that might start to look like, and that we're going to explore more in the workshop?
Sure. Okay. So with the circle of influence, here's the thing. The mistake that I see a lot of people make is, first of all, typically they don't understand what a circle of influence is. So typically people are going to go out and they'll go to the meetings like the NSA meetings or the CAPS meetings or BNI or Chamber of Commerce or meetup groups or those things, and they exchange business cards and maybe have some coffees and follow up and put people on their list and all of that, and they confuse that for increasing their circle of influence when really what they're really doing is just increasing their circle of acquaintances. So I define circle of influence a very specific way. I define circle of influence as the population within which you can catalyze action as it relates to your business. So we drill down on what exactly is the circle of influence. Then we talk about, in a roundabout way, we talk about two really important functions. Number one is increasing that circle of influence, which is actually a very small part of the presentation, but it's an important part. But the more important part about this is how do you show up in front of that circle of influence in a manner that makes you appear to be different, so that you are putting through specific steps to help control the way that circle of influence speaks about you. And I want to make this clear. This is not a social media training program. It's not about branding. It's not about marketing. It's not about copywriting. It's not about blogging and posting and tweeting and all of it. It has none of those things. Those things are all tools in the background that take what I'm going to share and make them work. But what I'm going to share basically is this. It's how do you change the language that you use when you speak about yourself or when you present your content? How do you change the language that you use so that you appear to be different, and that language is not only understandable, but it's repeatable by others, so that your message is easily repeated out there, not verbatim, not word for word, but people start speaking about you according to the message that you provide rather than you being a something. And this is the challenge that most people have in our business, especially speaking related businesses. We are coaches, trainers, speakers, authors, consultants, and we are always known as a something, and our name gets attached to our title. He's a speaker, she's a coach, he's a trainer, she's an author, and we have a or an in front of our name. So what I'm going to show the group how to do is to get rid of the a and the an and put the in front of your name, so that the world out there starts speaking about you as the something, not a something. And the process that we're going to be using is measured by the Repumeter. The Repumeter is, again, a very small part of the whole process. The Repumeter is just the measuring tool that you can look at and say, that's where I am and this is where I need to be. The rest of it is a process, a very strategic and tactical process that everybody in the audience can use when they share their messaging, so that they appear to be different, and they do it with a level of confidence and belief that actually supports them. And so I'm not sure how much detail you want me to go into here. I can go into a little more if you like, but I don't want to give away too much because, this isn't where all the education happens.
I get it. No, I get it.
What happens is I notice sometimes when I do these types of things, I tend to give away too much, and that's okay. But the danger in that is this: people take what I say and then they'll go and they'll write some stuff down. They'll say, I got it. I'm good now, I got it, and they don't have it at all. And what happens is they end up going out and doing things backwards or incomplete or incorrect and doing more damage than good. They need to have the entire picture for any of this to work. Otherwise, they shouldn't do any of it because it could be damaging to their reputation rather than enhancing it.
Yes, so they need to come to the meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I totally agree. I totally agree. And, you know, it's very alluring to go, oh, well, I just learned how to do this tool, or I learned how to do this method, and I implement that, and then, you know, it's like magic dust, and everything's wonderful. And it's just not true. It's not been true in my experience as well. But what intrigues me as well is you sharing that your transformation in a way, Steve, because you know, I am going to assume, because of what I know about you, before some of these changes that you've made, maybe in the last 7-8 years, I think you said that name about that time frame, you were already successful. It's not like you did not have a financially successful business and a business that was providing some really good value to clients and helping them. I'm hearing that was true. And yes, with Jayne's help and perhaps with some going, you know what, there's another, not only just level of success, but if I'm hearing that you kind of pulled back the layers inside yourself and go, you know what, if I got a bit more understanding of myself and how I show up and why I show up, and also out of that, what even more impact I could make, maybe want to make, that's what I'm hearing was the big difference. And that's not just listening to one video or reading one book or having one technique. There's it's a deeper level than that. And first wrapping your head around that, what do you conceptually mean? And then to experience some of that, which is why I love the fact that you're coming for a half a day. And that says a lot as well. And excuse me, I got something popping up on my screen, and I hate when that happens. I apologize if anyone saw that. So I really do appreciate that this is it gets kind of, you know, roll up your sleeves, but also take a deep breath and allow yourself to be open to what is maybe blocking you from getting to where you want to go. And also, here's what I'm taking away. You could walk away from this feeling more clear and freed up and excited about what's the potential for not only your reputation, but the impact that you can make. If I got it right at all. Did I get it right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
And you'll have some strategies that you may have never considered before. So let me give you a little bit of a warning on this, because this is the stuff that I get all the time. Okay? I'm going to break all the speaking rules, all of them. I'm going to speak way too fast. I'm going to give way too much information. I'm going to totally overload this group with detail. But even in a half a day, that is just the beginning point. But at the end of that half day, they're going to have everything they need to start moving forward with all of these concepts. Some of them may want some more help, and we'll provide an opportunity for that, but they're going to have a lot. But I want your guests to come with a notebook, with a pen, ready to focus, ready to take notes, ready to get involved, ready to participate, because it's going to go like this. It's very participatory, and I'm in advance, they should know that I'm going to overload them. And so they want to come prepared for that, but they were going to get, between what Jayne is doing, what I'm doing, they're going to get tremendous value. They really are.
Wow, I totally believe it, talking to both of you now, and I'm looking forward to it. Again, for everyone listening, it is Friday, June the 15th. It is going to be held in Williamsburg. That is, if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, that is a 45, maybe 60-minute drive, totally worth it, right off the highway, so it's easy peasy to get there. All the information to sign up is at nsavirginia.org/events, or just to the homepage, you'll be able to see it there. We even got an early bird where if you sign up by the Friday before, which is June the 8th, it's even cheaper. I mean, this is the thing about NSA across the country. All the chapters and all the meetings, I mean, high quality individuals like yourself at the most economic registration prices you're going to find anywhere. And that's a plug because, yes, I am on the board, and I think that that's truly a value that we offer to anyone in the region who can come. So I highly encourage that to happen. Thank you so much, Jayne. Thank you so much, Steve. Any one last piece of advice or thought that you want to leave with us today?
For me, it's just do whatever you have to do to be there, because we're going to show you how to step up, stand out, get noticed, and be the chosen one.
Love it. Jayne?
Just come prepared to have a really amazing experience. You're going to love it.
Okay, sounds good to me. Well, thanks everybody for listening to the Speaking Driven podcast, livecast, by NSA Virginia. We hope to see you on June 15th. And thank you so much, Steve and Jayne. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
Bye.